Hi, I'm Veronica Kidd, and we are here downtown in Lower Manhattan at Trinity Church, the cemetery where Alexander Hamilton was buried. Now, some of you may ask, what are we doing here? Why Alexander Hamilton? Alexander Hamilton was born in St. Kitts and Nevis, Charleston, Nevis to be exact. So we're going to speak to Senator Ricky Skerritt about why they are paying homage to Alexander Hamilton today. Talk about that. Why is it so important?
Well, first and foremost, Alexander Hamilton was one of the founding fathers, and guess where he hails from? Nevis. You don't hear that a lot. I don't think we claim him as much as we should. He came to the U.S. as a teenager, and well, you know the rest from American history. But it's significant that this month is Caribbean American Heritage Month here in the United States. So many of our Caribbean people have come through as immigrants into the United States and contributed so much to commerce and politics and academics and culture. And it's in recognition of the wonderful people and the outstanding man-made and natural assets of the Caribbean and the inextricable linkages between the Caribbean people and the people of the United States. That is why we celebrate Caribbean American Heritage Month. And CTO, of which I happen to be chairman, has been celebrating a week of activities early in June, as you know, for many years. I became chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization in October last year. And so I thought that a tribute to Alexander Hamilton and retracing the footsteps, so to speak, that the great man made, and reminding one of our source markets, the United States, and the Caribbean diaspora in the United States, that Alexander Hamilton is or was a Caribbean man initially, and that is even more cause for celebration. We have wonderful things to be proud about from the Caribbean, and Alexander Hamilton certainly is one of the very top on the list.
First visit ever to Alexander Hamilton's gravesite by the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the birthplace of Alexander Hamilton, the Honorable Denzel Douglas, also Caribbean Tourism Organization Chairman and Minister of Tourism and Industry for St. Kitts and Nevis, Minister Ricky Skerritt. It's a great privilege. John Herzog, who is the founder of the Museum of American Finances, with us. Hugh Riley, Secretary General of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, and other honored guests. We often place wreaths here at Hamilton's grave, but no occasion, Mr. Prime Minister, has been more significant than this particular occasion. Finally, in a way, Alexander Hamilton comes home with your presence here today. And at this point, I would like to give the microphone over to Minister Skerritt.
With the Caribbean Week taking place and already started, it seemed appropriate for us to gather in celebration of Caribbean American Heritage Month with so many of the leaders of our diaspora, some of whom are here, have worked so hard over so many years to establish. Caribbean American history and the contributions of people of Caribbean origin to the development of this great land must never be taken for granted. And I thank Arthur and John again for making this important event possible this morning as we gather in recognition of one of the most prominent historical personalities ever to hail from the Caribbean, the esteemed Alexander Hamilton. Born in Charlestown, Nevis, on January 11th of 1757, he was raised entirely in the Caribbean, on Nevis and also on St. Croix. After working as a clerk at a local Nevisian import-export firm, it was in the autumn of 1772, as a teenager, that young Alexander arrived in the United States to continue his education in Elizabethtown, in New Jersey, and in New York City. Hamilton's formal education at King's College, which would later become Columbia University, and at the time stood right across the road from here, I understand, was cut short as the revolutionary spirit became his passion. At only 19, Hamilton became a captain in the New York militia. He went on to become General Washington's most important and trusted aide in ADC during the Revolutionary War. Following his service, the brilliant young immigrant from the Caribbean, Alexander Hamilton, went on to become one of America's first constitutional lawyers and the first United States Secretary of the Treasury, where his vision and hard work resulted in him being known as one of the founding fathers of the United States of America. Hamilton has been called America's most important immigrant, a recognition that is significant considering the major issues with immigration that the United States is facing today. Hamilton has also been called the first Caribbean American entrepreneur, and we know that there have been thousands since him. And we now know that he was only the first among many of our brothers and sisters originating from the Caribbean who continue to make outstanding contributions in various disciplines, from business to literature and academics to politics here in the United States of America. It is with a great sense of pride, therefore, that I stand here with you today as chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization and alongside my Prime Minister from St. Kitts and Nevis at the birthplace, St. Kitts and Nevis, sorry, the birthplace, as was said to you earlier, of Alexander Hamilton. There is, of course, a small museum in recognition of Alexander Hamilton's origins in Nevis, which I urge some of you someday to come and visit. And I think we should forge stronger links between that museum and the Museum of American Finance here. And it is something that I pledge to do in the coming months. May this symbolic ceremony this morning then remind us of the greatness of Alexander Hamilton and the fact that there is potential greatness in every one of us, no matter from where we originate. And may this brief ceremony also remind us of the unbreakable bonds of heritage that connect the people of the Caribbean to the people of the United States of America. I pray that the same entrepreneurial spirit and unwavering commitment to public service that drove the work of Alexander Hamilton will live within all of us now and forever. Thank you very much. It is now my great pleasure to invite the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. Again, I emphasize the birthplace of Alexander Hamilton. I invite the Honorable Prime Minister to do the honors of officially positioning the Reef on the right spot here alongside the grave of Alexander Hamilton. Prime Minister.
Minister, you get on the other side?
So I want to invite the Secretary General of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, Hugh Riley, to just join us, as this is such an important moment in recognition of Caribbean American Heritage Month and the CTO week of activities here in New York City.
Gentlemen, now let us have a Washington's home of the city here. We are standing on another spot that would have been very familiar to Alexander Hamilton. Only 2 years after arriving from St. Croix by way of Nevis, at the age of 19, he quit King's College to participate in the revolution which was developing. The British had temporarily evacuated the city. Their headquarters had been right at Dress One Broadway. And he formed a militia unit in the city, and he became captain of the militia unit in 1775. The first famous little story about Hamilton in America was on August 23rd, 1775, the British began bombarding the city with a huge 64 cannon ship, the Asia, one of the largest ships. And in order to protect the cannons, which were so precious and had been at the fort, Hamilton, in the middle of the night, with the bombardment happening all around him, they dragged cannons right past where we're standing. Hamilton, young 19-year-old Alexander dragging the cannons up Broadway to protect them here at the spot. And that was an important story of the beginning of Hamilton's involvement here. This go all the way to the top. Sir?
Before I do that, let me say a few words. On behalf of the government and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, it is a distinct honor and privilege to participate in this very symbolic flag-raising ceremony that marks the very strong historical and heritage links between Alexander Hamilton, the United States of America, and the people of the Caribbean region. May his memory continue to inspire us, not only here in the United States of America, but across the oceans to the Caribbean people, and in particular to the people of St. Kitts. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, raise the flag.
When our Prime Minister was raising the St. Kitts and Nevis flag here, I made it clear that he was doing it symbolic of the entire Caribbean. We don't have a Caribbean nation flag yet. He is the incoming chairman of CARICOM as of the end of this month. So it's St. Kitts and Nevis, small country that punches above its weight like the rest of the Caribbean. Per population, we have produced so many outstanding human beings in all fields, and so many of them have helped to develop the United States of America.
Yes, and you know, listening to you today was like a history lesson, taking us back, actually educating us, because I'm sure a lot of people weren't aware of the fact that he was from Nevis, Charleston, Nevis. And I thought that was so profound, because I'm thinking about when I was in school here in the United States, and I don't know if I overlooked it or if they intentionally left it out.
Probably didn't tell you. They probably didn't tell you.
Yes, so that's why it's important, because we're educating our young.
And you see, he grew up in Nevis and a neighboring island called St. Croix, which you know is now part of the United States, and came to the United States to further his studies. That was the reason he came to the United States as a 14-year-old, I believe. And as so many other students have done since, so many other Caribbean people have come to the United States to go to school, to improve their lot in life, to improve their skills and their knowledge, and have stayed on here and done so many great things with this country. And these are the people who we now look to help to develop the Caribbean, the land of their birth and their ancestry, and to come back and visit the Caribbean. I'm telling people this week that Alexander Hamilton helped to shape the American dream. Well, somewhere in that American dream is a visit to the Caribbean.
Yes, St. Kitts, exactly.
St. Kitts and Nevis. And if you don't come to St. Kitts and Nevis, come visit any one of the Caribbean islands. We're happy to have you.
Now talk about it. How do you feel about this? Paying homage to Alexander Hamilton, laying a reef here downtown Manhattan.
Well, actually, he's often being called America's greatest immigrant, and for good cause as well. And the fact that he's from Nevis, I was born in Nevis, is of special significance to our tourism industry as well. And having it here in the presence of the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis and also the chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization lends some credibility to this event this morning. And I hope that in years to come we'll have an annual event, in fact much bigger than this, because having it here down on Wall Street, where you have lots and lots of people walking back and forth, wealthy people, people who travel, if they fully understand and fully appreciate who Alexander Hamilton is, it could bring a few more hundred, maybe not thousands, but a lot more visitors to St. Kitts and Nevis. Of all the forefathers, he probably, in my opinion, well, I'm a little bit biased here, has given this country the kind of springboard that it needed to become the great country that it is today.
Yeah.
And so the message we're sending here is that Nevis is one of the smaller islands in the Eastern Caribbean, in fact in the Caribbean, but yet it produced one of the great founding fathers of this country. And like I said, he's the foundation on which our whole financial system is based here today. So more kudos to St. Kitts and Nevis, and especially Nevis, the birthplace of my grandmother.
Yeah.